We're fucking back.
Yeah.
Fucking building. We got the Without Warning podcast. They did give me some warning before they came. Contradictory to their name, but fucking local podcast, 518 rap scene, like caught, I think in my honest opinion, caught fire. I was like, oh shit. Like I was like, I followed from the beginning because I'm on the, when I started my podcast, I wanted to be on the local podcast scene, right? So it's like, you got to pay attention on everybody and support everybody type shit. When I saw you guys, I'm like, all right, I see what you're doing. And then all of a sudden, 6-7 interviews later, I'm just like, oh shit, they got literally everybody on here.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, it's kind of funny how it started. My boy Noah, we were coming back from college, and he was like, yo, we got to get into something. We were like, let's start a podcast. And the music, we all love music, and the music scene was definitely something bubbling here. So
yeah, that's kind of like what I saw, is that I wanted to make my own outlet because I like writing as well as like doing a podcast where we could put out blogs, put out videos, do everything. But at the same time, I also saw that there's like a music scene in Albany that's really good. We got a lot of fire artists that's not getting the recognition. There's not really like tons of consistent outlets like putting them out like that.
Right.
So that's something I want to kind of do and take the lead on.
Well, that's dope because like I agree with you there. There are a lot of dope people around here that are talented but probably don't get the recognition because, like, as you probably know, the music game is a little political.
Yeah.
Up here it seems like, to me, like, I talk to a lot of these artists and I try to support them and stuff like that, but some of them are really vindictive to one another, and I'm just like, yo, I don't think that's, I think when I've gotten into this podcast scene, like, I've only had support. Like, no one's hit me, like, with some hate and was like, yo, you're trash, or, like, you know what I mean? Or anything like that. I've literally gotten no hate from it. Everyone's been supportive. You guys have been supportive. Like, Minutes with Marco, like, Fifth Place Podcast. All these people have been so supportive, and it's like, I can't really. And then it's like you go to the rap scene, and they're like, yo, fuck that guy, and stuff like that. And I'm just like, yo, this is not how we build the culture up here.
Exactly. And that's definitely one thing we noticed right away, is that, like, here we're in a very competitive culture, and rap's a very competitive game
For a fact.
But when we're at this level, like, it's important for us to just really come together and uplift each other.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a big community thing for us.
Yeah, and I think it's like because there haven't been many people, or really any from the 518 that have reached like mainstream success. Everybody's trying to be that one to break it. So it's like almost some people have kind of like the small town mentality where it's like, I'm not trying to compete. They're not really thinking about competing at like a national stage or whatever. They're thinking about just being the best out of Albany, the best out of 518. But I will say, like, I feel in the past few years it's gotten better. Like, I saw a lot more of that like a few years back versus now I see a lot of good collabs, like artists working with each other better. So I think it's headed in the right direction.
I think you are correct because I've known a bunch of producers, so all the people you've interviewed are like people I've seen behind the scenes, like just like showing up at producers' houses and like smoking blunts with, and it's like, oh, I remember you. You know what I mean? We like talked like briefly, and then I see him on your podcast, and I'm just like, all right, dope. And then it's like more people like collabing with other people. Like, I'm just like, yo, this is fucking. I'm just happy to see like it going in a positive direction. And I think you had a good point about like the national level, right? Because it's like, this is like, we're putting it out to people. We're not just competing in Albany. Like, as much as I don't like the guy or the artist Russ, he had a good point when he spoke about just like his fans internationally, because he was just like, it's not the people locally that supported me. Those aren't where my biggest shows. They were overseas in LA, in New York. Like, that's not where I'm from.
Facts.
So you don't have to worry about like people supporting you, like technically where you're from. It's how do you perform to an audience, right?
Yeah.
The audience doesn't have to be the people in your backyard.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's artists that have came up doing it either way. Like, there's plenty of artists that have really created a strong local following and then used that to springboard to the next level. But there's definitely ones that have bypassed that at the same time.
Yeah.
So.
I think with you guys, like, especially, it's good to see you doing it up here, because I feel like a lot of people have the one-track mind of, like, the only outlets to get my music out are in the city.
Yeah.
Like, they're just like, yo, I got to get to the city for this, or I got to go down there. Like, granted, I like going to New York City, too. Like, that shit's fun. Short period of time. That shit that shit makes your blood pressure spike. And I'm just like definitely overwhelming. People who can do it, I give an applaud to, because I need to pull back every once in a while. But I think it's nice to see you guys up here just like giving artists a chance to speak and tell their stories.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like, I was talking to Noah yesterday. He was like, what we're doing is kind of like history. We're documenting like the history of the Albany music scene. And honestly, like all these artists, they got their own voices and like they need to be heard as well.
100%. That's a deep way of fucking looking at it. Recording history, like you got all these documents or these interviews of just like talking to people and seeing how their mindset, their music.
For real, you too though is like it's like we're journalists in a way. Like
no, we are journalists, and we were saying too, like we hopefully when they blow up, like our videos and like our articles will be the things getting cited in like
Wikipedia and shit.
And shit like that. Hopefully we get if the scene moves to that level.
Yeah, I think you have 100% with that, and I think like in the sense of like I think you guys definitely are in the more music scene, but like the way I look at podcasting is just like talking to people on a level that you would talk to your friends or your family at. Because I think like when you put a camera in front of someone and try to get like sound bites from them and ask them provoking questions and not see how their mind works, I think it's like misleading. Like you see all these interview people, TMZ shove a camera in someone's face and then ask them like, yo, what happened with your baby moms, or why'd you get in this fight? And you're just like, yo, you're going right to the core of it. Not knowing how this person's mind set up, not having an introduction to see how their day was. It's like, yeah, you're gonna get those like, get the fuck out of my face, or you're gonna get those juicy bits, but it's like I like having a full conversation with someone who might have like a sketchy past but has a deep soul. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like when you look at like mainstream like news outlets, sometimes it seems like they don't even listen to the music of the people they're interviewing. It's just a bunch of like tabloid bullshit about their personal lives and stuff like that. And then even if they do have a meaningful conversation about like their upbringing, artistry and stuff, then like the producers will just find that one soundbite like where they said some stupid shit and just run with that.
Cut that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I do that with Instagram clips I make for this podcast. You look for the best parts and you're just like that, and you're like, there was like 4 or 5 minutes of bullshit in between this sentence and that sentence. I'm gonna ixnay that shit, slap them together, put some music under it, and we're gonna put it out. So I think we all do it in a sense, but it's just good to like be able to talk to people and give people a source of, you know, how this person thinks, you know, how this artist was made. Like I liked your Suplex interview because I know Suplex on a good level.
He turned Lark up last night. Rage on Lark was lit.
I saw that, and I love those fucking ropes. It looked like some WWE shit, like with some shit. But man, I wish I could have gone.
There was one point like Glockstar Slim was like hanging over the ropes. And stuff. Like, that does look like WWE. It's crazy.
Yeah. Can you? I'm a big fan of like their Glockstar movement. Can you explain that a little bit to me? Because I'm just like, because I know there's like Glockstar Slim, Glockstar Dimmy, right?
Yeah.
And then you did Glockstar 10K, who did your
he created our logo. There's a whole bunch of dudes within the Glockstar movement, and I don't want to explain the movement myself because like I'm sure they could do a way better job, but I could tell you is like what they're creating is like a beneficial culture that like kids in beneficial creative culture that kids in Albany can genuinely look up to. Like when kids look at them, they're like, shit, I can make music, I can make beats, I can make a logo for someone, I could do this, that, and the third. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's one thing I like about them too. Like Joey mentioned, something kids can look up to is like when we were at that show at Lark last night, I saw a lot of young guys and women as well, like just high school kids all wearing like Glockstar apparel, Play Dead and stuff. I mean, I feel like that's just something good that like they can go to too, like just to turn up on a Friday night. Like we haven't always had things like that in Albany, like just like local shows that are really popping at that level. So
yeah. You guys grew up in Albany? Yeah. So you know all those parties used to get shut down in Albany. You show up to something and try. You can't even get a little loose.
Exactly.
All of a sudden it's shut down. You got to move.
You're in there for 10 minutes.
It's cold because every time the parties would get popping in the winter, you're just like, damn. You're on the move. Yep. It's the worst. But like having like a local culture or vibe that you can like do local shows at where people can come to and kind of just let loose. It's good that show did it get shut down? No,
it ended a little early.
It ended a little early. I mean, is what it is. It's Albany.
Yeah.
They're trying to. I have to understand it from like I try to look at it from outside. Like let's look at it like as a businessman, right? Like I own all these buildings. All these people are paying me premium rent. Like we're not talking about $1,000 a month. We're talking about like 17.
Yeah.
We're talking 1,800 a month. These are good people to have. You know what I mean? So you're gonna make them happy. Like it's like these kids are fucking making noise. You want You want to do something about this, you know? And then the cops have to come and make sure the guy who owns all the buildings are happy. You know what I mean? So I think about it in like a kind of like a trickle down thing, you know, where it's like, I understand they're being assholes and like we look at it like one thing, but like they're trying to like do the best for their clients and stuff like that. Like college kids and police, I was thinking about this nuance the other day. Like all college kids want to do is turn up, you know what I mean? And party and drink, but the law says you can't drink until you're 21, you know what I mean? And fake IDs, bars. So it's like inherently you're not going to get along with cops. When really those cops are just like, fuck you. Probably good people, right?
Exactly.
At a core level. Like they're probably good people. They just have a shitty job in a town with a bunch of college kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's definitely those assholes who enjoy it a little too much. You know what I mean? That are just like, yeah, I'm going to beat this kid's ass, or I'm just going to give him a problem. Like,
even with like hosting college parties, like it's almost similar to having an event like that. Like you want everyone to turn up, but at the same time, if some shit goes down, it's all on you as like a host or owner of the place. So they're in a tough spot to like balance all that, but it's still a good event for sure. Yeah,
that's a tough situation to be in. I always look at it like that because I'm just trying to get both people's perspective, because like you said, like changing the culture, I think there are a lot of good people, police officers included, out there, and to be able to hear how some of them think at a more core level, I think will break the the stigma of it. Like, because I think talking to like more artists and rappers and seeing like what they're thinking on a core level breaks the stigma of, oh, they're all like stupid, or they, you know, they don't see, you know, they don't know business or something. Because it's like a lot of drug dealers know business, but they don't understand they know business.
Exactly.
Like you're breaking it down to a smaller percentage or a smaller weight, and you're selling it for more. You know, you're overall making more.
They're meeting a market demand.
Exactly.
Exactly. They're serving a market, and these guys who are rappers, and they're serving a market. They're serving a purpose, and they're filling a void. And you know, with the music they put out, the numbers that they're generated, they can see what worked and what hasn't worked. So it's like, you're a businessman overall because you're looking at data points, right? You're saying this song did 1,000, but this song did 5. This Instagram clip did 800 views, but this one did 12. Like, and you're looking at the nuances of why, right? But you don't look at it like that as you like yourself. Like I look at all this social media shit. It's like I kind of feel like I'm being just a hoe on, like, you know, I'm looking at the numbers, and all of a sudden I got to break it down. It's like, nah, I'm looking at analytics. You know what I mean?
Facts. Low key, me too. When I'm looking at my insights, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing right now? I'm like,
I'm like a social media influencer. Like I'm one of those people now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying not to be it, but at the same time, you got to look at it like a business person.
Yeah,
it's like what worked. You know what I mean? I need data to know what works so I can produce the next thing. And I think you guys have had a tremendous amount of great data points. I'm just like, yo, it's what pisses me off, because I had a worse mindset than you guys when you started. I had to buy all this equipment to get started because I didn't have the confidence I would sound good enough. And then I see you guys do it with 2 fucking ball mics and a couple laptops, and I'm just like,
bro, it's the funny story about that is we pulled up to the Best Buy, and the dude that was trying to sell us these mics, he was like, you can't get this snowball mic. It won't pick up all 4 of you. You have to get this like $220
he's trying to sell
mic.
us like 5 of them too. Like, he's like, you all need your own.
Yeah.
Like the most expensive thing in the store. We're like, nah, we'll get the cheap ones. See what happens.
Yeah.
But it's been working.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. Definitely was trying to oversell you. But yeah, I did the opposite, and I waited for a while, and we lost, you know, pretty good amount of content from like just dope conversations with people.
That's what I'm trying to tell the whole team is you want to put out the best product possible, but you can't be a perfectionist to like, the point where it holds you back. So like we got to just put stuff out, see what people like, see what people don't like, see what we like and what we don't like. Like I hope that we grow to the point that I'll look back on our earlier recordings and be like, this sucks. But it was like the thing that springboarded us to where we are now.
Exactly.
At some point, you got to just put shit out and see.
It's document versus create. You know, it's like you got to take this stuff and hold on to it. Like content's content. You guys live a crazier life than I would. You know, you guys are college kids, you know, rap game, you know what I mean? Streets are loving you, you know what I mean? So you got all these performances to go to. So it's like, document that shit. Absolutely. Like you don't even have to create anything. Like that was the scene last night, you know what I mean?
And that's what I'm saying.
The things evolve from there, you know, with content creation and the rest of it, you know, especially like see what you like, because you don't really know what you like. We're all young, you know, we might think we know what we like. And then someone shows us some new shit, and you're like, damn, I like that.
Exactly.
We also don't really know what we're good at this point either, too. Like, if it's like certain types of YouTube videos, like we were trying out like reacting to like celebrity fits, called that Drip or Drown.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like
that was nice.
Yeah, versus like regular podcasts, just talking about music, interviews. So like we're trying to, at this point, since it's still relatively early in the process, to just try a bunch of different things, like see what really sticks, you know?
Yeah, 100%. What have you guys found that have been working for you a lot? These podcasts are dope.
Honestly, the podcasts, they get some love, and then everybody loves the interviews.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I feel like people just genuinely love seeing people connect and, like, just watching those conversations. And, like, back to putting out the content is, like, we just found that consistency is, like, the most important thing.
Yeah.
Like, with anything, like, if you follow Gary Vee, like, you just got to put out something every single day. Like, you got to try to put out content every single day. It's trial and error, like, hit or miss.
Yeah, you can't. You're not going to have hitters. Like, he talks about TikTok. I went on TikTok for my other podcast.
We started a TikTok.
Yeah, shameless plug, Thread the Spread, you know, and I kept putting out, like, little clips of our podcast mixed with, like, sports clips. And fucking just one of those Canelo clips hit 16,000 views, and it's just like we're full steam ahead there. I'm just like, Jesus Christ. And, like, it's just, like, a new platform where creative people, like, it's like these, it was channeled for young kids, and now it's aging up because it's like people are getting tired of Instagram. You know what I mean? People are tired of Facebook. Like, I go on Facebook now because I manage other people's Facebooks for, like, a social media stuff. And I look at it and it's like so antiquated. Like, I feel old in it. Like, I'm scrolling through and you're just like, I'm just like, it's not it. Like, I like Instagram, but, like, TikTok videos are funny as fuck, you know?
Yeah.
YouTube and, like, the audio side of podcasts. I listen to so many podcasts, and it's like, Jesus Christ, like,
that's literally all if I'm not working on our podcast, I'm watching podcasts and then doing college work. That's literally all I'm doing 24/7.
What are you guys going to school for?
I'm actually a history major right now.
Get the fuck out of here, really?
Yeah,
that's
for real, like
fucking
US
dope.
history. Yeah.
That's fucking dope. This kid behind the computer can fucking talk history forever. Fucking.
I'm a business management and marketing major and a history minor. So very weird.
That's dope.
Yeah. So, like, with the history thing, seems like it really have no connection to this, but, like, the main thing is that I'm researching and writing all the time. So, like, that definitely goes into what we're doing with the podcast, just blogging, being able to edit everybody's shit, doing research too. That helps me with, like, being able to prepare for interviews, stuff, do that the right way.
Yeah.
So, like, it all works out.
Yeah, I think that's a great skill to have, especially just, like, history in general. Like, you know what you're talking about, because you don't know what people are going to talk about in your podcast. Like, someone might just be a history buff and you know history, you know what I mean? That's a plus, you know. What year are you guys in?
I'm a junior right now.
Junior. You guys are gonna finish?
Yeah.
All right, dope.
Trying.
Dope.
Get in there. I'm getting there.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have been like, the traction you guys had, I've been like, listen, I got a few hits. I'll figure it out.
Trust me. Like, you don't know how bad I low-key just want to be like, yo, let me just work a job and, like, try to grind out this shit. But I'm too deep now.
Yeah,
you're juniors. Yeah, well, I did 2 years at the Valley. You know, I did my time. You know, they let me out. And I was just like, at the next point, I'm just like, what do I want to do from here? And I was like, we could, you know, go to UAlbany, do the 4-year thing, and, you know, see how that went, or, you know, we could take a big chance and figure something else out. So, took a chance, and, you know, things are forming. You know, I wouldn't say it's working out, because definitely haven't made a ton of money on it, but you know, but I think it's working out. I think, you know, just like being creative is definitely a good thing, and like my goal and like a lot of this, having people on here locally, especially like you guys, is like you can just do it. You know what I mean? You don't have to wait and like get all this stuff. You can just go out and do it and ask people to come in, like, to talk. You know what I mean? Like, some people are just don't have like the courage to like slide in someone's DMs and be like, yo, I think your music's dope, you know, blah, blah, blah. Do you want to come, you know, sit down to a podcast? You know, a lot of people don't even think, you know, just because you don't have a lot of Instagram followers doesn't mean someone doesn't want to have a conversation. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I feel like social media has definitely skewed like our perception in that aspect. Like, even me a little bit, like, at the beginning, like, I was kind of nervous to reach out to some of these bigger rappers, because I was like, why would they want to fuck with, like, WoW podcast without warning 100 followers? But, like, I don't know, it's pretty interesting you pose that way.
Yeah. I just figure like I think everyone wants to tell their story.
Yeah.
If you give them an opportunity, like I think people want to be able to just like expose themselves more than what they're able to do. And I think you guys do a beautiful job with the diversity of like the questions you ask and the amount of people you have to just always like keeping the conversation moving.
I think another thing that we could offer to artists, that even if they might have a way bigger following than us, to like attract people to our page, is that it's really multimedia. So like if an artist comes on our podcast for an interview, they're getting like promotion in multiple facets. Like there's YouTube videos, like constant social media, like written blogs, everything like that. So
and once we make a connection, like it's not like we interview you and like we just stop fucking with you. Like we're gonna we constantly promote people we network with. We constantly promote these artists we have good relationships with, like all throughout.
Yeah, and it's like that's just, hopefully if it goes well, the interview is just a start to like other possible collabs and things down the road. Like if you got a show and we're around, we're gonna be at that pop-up shop, we're gonna be there too, so it doesn't just stop at the interview.
You guys are legit, because I definitely I don't stop fucking with people. I just never pop out. I got a son, and I just my time's between that and trying to build this business, and it's just like popping out is me. It's like I call it like trying to be a professional degenerate. Like I want to like be professional like 360 days a year and then just rage for like 5 days. You know what I mean? And just go hard. You know what I mean? Like, because if I'm coming to your event, like I kind of want to just get fucked up and just like enjoy it. But I also just want to be a professional too. Like, so I know like getting drunk at your event and getting a little fucking rowdy is probably not the best for business. So I try to like hold it between there and there. I had a kid very young. I had a kid when I was 17. So I did that throughout college and stuff like that. And it was like, it's definitely been great, but it's definitely like held me back from like doing like social stuff, which is like what I love seeing you guys do. I like live through your guys' shit. I'm just like, oh shit, they're fucking raging right now. I was like, hell yeah.
No, yeah, bro, especially Rolling Loud, that shit was insane. The mosh pits were crazy. I don't know, but like I fuck with it. Like, especially you're talking about the college lifestyle. Like, it's cool, but I'm at the point where like I kind of want to settle down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, kind of just want to start gearing down. Like, get to this podcast shit, get to money, and like
I definitely don't even go out like nearly as much as I did like freshman year. Like go as hard. Like there's more business now, but
that shit's wearing on you, man.
It does quickly.
I would go visit. Me and this kid would go up to Binghamton to visit our friend in a frat, and just to see the way he lived, it's like, yo, my blood pressure is fucking skyrocketing.
And
right now.
Like that's not even on the weekends. Like
that's every day.
That shit every day.
Oh my
Literally,
god.
The weekend starts Tuesday, like Monday.
Your body just ages so rapidly, like with all the drinking you do.
For sure.
I'm just like, yo, I can't even, like, I am a lightweight. Like, I barely drink. So when you go out with people and they're just like slamming shit, and you're just like, you take 3 and you're just like, you're just like, oh, I gotta chill. Someone passes it your way. You're just like, yep, that's gone. I can't do it, but that's dope. Fucking. So I want to talk to you guys about like when the origins of your podcast. Like, you guys said you were always like interested in hip hop, right?
Yeah.
Where did it like start for like you guys?
So I was at school. I was doing this like after like working for graduation, doing facilities and stuff, and just had mad free time. Was kind of bored, but just thinking of things to do creatively. I made this like big list in my notes, basically of all these ideas I had. So like I was thinking like event hosting, podcasting, maybe being a videographer, being a blogger, and then like just thought, why don't we do it all under one banner? To be like focused around a podcast, but be more generally of a media outlet. And like for me, it started with making the website, and then we were thinking about a name, right? And I thought maybe a good way to go about this would be to look at like songs we like or albums we like and get a name from that. So I like posed that to the rest of the group. There's Joey here. We also got my boy John, my boy Miles, and my boy Tyson, and kind of asked them all about that. And then Joey came up with a name Without Warning from the Metro 21 Savage tape. So
shit. That's dope.
Went from there.
That's fucking. What about you? Where did it start for you?
Well, my origins with hip hop, like loving hip hop, I always tell people first rapper I ever got into was 50 Cent. But like the first hip hop album I fell in love with, 1999 by Joey Badass. So around like my freshman year of high school, I got really into hip hop, where it was like an everyday thing in my life. But with the podcast, it was just like I was bored. I wasn't doing shit. I was just working. And my boy Noah hit me up, and I was like, it's funny because like the conversations we have is what we do already in everyday life. Like we argue about hip hop. We had these fucking pop culture debates and shit, and like now we're just recording it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's exactly what I said. Is like we just need to get ourselves down, like a table, some little bit more formal, put the camera on, and like record the conversations we have in real life. Because I think every single person in the podcast brings a different perspective. Like we don't agree on like really most like hip hop things. We all have similar favorite artists, but there's definitely a variance and also different styles. Like just being laid back, being more energetic, like serious, or just clowning on there. So I think that's what makes it work. We just had to bring it all together.
I definitely like the group aspect of it. I definitely like that. Thankfully, you guys are getting a new space because some of those are a little echoey because I listen to them through headphones and I'm like, motherfucker, I want to support these guys, but I fucking hate this. Someone had a fucking whine in their mic the other day when I was listening to it. I think it was fucking... the Basement Banter podcast, and I'm just like, the whine was so high pitched. I'm just like, yo, it's funny, but it's just like I can't listen to it right now. It's the little things. But fucking, what was I gonna say? Oh, I wanted to ask you guys. Now this might take some time, but I've seen some of the things you guys have said about hip hop. Now I'm gonna say I disagree with some of what you've said in the albums you've put out. I think you said one of your favorite albums. You put out that post where it was like 4 albums, right? Saying the most like influential rapper.
Yeah.
I think, and you picked Thug.
No, I didn't pick Thug.
I picked Thug.
You picked Thug.
Hell yeah.
You picked
I
Thug.
picked Wayne.
You picked Wayne. We do agree. Okay, so let's get on him real quick.
Here's
what the fuck are you thinking? First of all.
All right, here's my toss up. It was either between Wayne or Thug. With Wayne, I feel stylistically like every day. Actually, no. Let me think about what I'm about to say.
Yeah, think about it. This is on camera too.
Yeah,
this is
I know.
the clip I'm putting out.
No.
I'm keeping the stuttering too.
Nah, you're good. Nah, it's straight. Stylistically, sonically, what we hear, majority of dudes are taking influence from Thug. Like, and when I look at Thug's track record, who under Thug, he has been able to uplift to a mainstream platform. Dudes like Baby, Gunna, Shy By. I'm missing so many people. But Keed, Got It. So many dudes he's been able to take their sound and also uplift into the mainstream spotlight. I think that's dope.
But as influential, like you gotta understand.
Influential.
Like
I know how many dudes are sounding like Thug.
I understand that. I'm just saying, like, now we still haven't seen all of Thug's career, right? This is like so front end loaded. Like you're thinking of like all of what you think of right now. You got to think of Wayne. Like he was like, that's the dirty South right there. Yeah. Like if it wasn't like Lil Jon and Wayne, you know what I mean? There's not too many other people you think of when like you think of the. I mean, excuse me. It's all South. It's like right now it's coming back like to like more LA, New York, but like for like most of the 2000s it was the South. You had Migos, T.I., fucking Lil Wayne, fucking Gucci, like fucking just everyone from the South, like, you know what I mean? That's what all the sound was like. But like the people who brought the South up was on like Wayne's back. And as far as like people have lifted people to create, I mean, fuck, he lifted Drake. Like out of all the artists you just named, none of them are there at Drake's level. None of them are there at Nicki's level. None of them are there at Tyga's level. And like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And there's a couple others that are just like, we're not thinking.
And the reason I said Wayne too is because I was also thinking about just style and like aesthetic in addition to music. I mean, Wayne, you look at everything with his image, like the dreads, skinny jeans, skateboarding.
Yeah, he brought that new fashion, and that's why a rock star. And that's why I kind of respected your view because I could see the same thing in Thug.
That's what I was just about to say.
Yeah, with his fashion, you know, he's kind of changed it now. Is it my preference? No, but we grew up on 50 Cent, so that kind of influences my opinion on fashion. Like if I grew up in the early 2000s, you know, it might be a little different. I might be rocking skinny jeans than the rest of it, but I don't. So it's like that's my preference. So I understand where you're coming from, and I completely respect that. But to me, Thug doesn't have that pivotal album that solidifies him as the GOAT. You know what I mean? For me, the Carter 3 can be put into top 5 hip hop albums.
I hear you.
There were so many classics on
No,
that.
I hear you. With Thug, what we're seeing now is like, now Thug's sound is becoming like receivable in the mainstream spotlight.
Yeah.
So we see that with So Much Fun. That was his highest grossing album out of all of his albums. Before that, I'm pretty sure it was like 50K, maybe first week sales. Like, his sound is just now becoming receivable to the mainstream spotlight, so I feel like he's just getting the love he deserves.
Right, but it's like as influential, like he's on his way to being there. But I think if you look at influences, it's like if you're putting that in the category, Wayne's the obvious choice. Who else did you have in there?
I think also
We had Chief.
if
You
you want
had
to talk about like
Chief literally created drill rap. Like,
Yeah.
he
to
put
go
on
to
Chicago.
go back with
Yeah.
like Wayne and Thug. Wayne influenced Thug's sound like
he
extremely.
named
you're
an
right.
album. He
No,
named an
if
album
you're
after
right,
him.
He named
No,
he named
and
the
if
album
you ask,
after.
and if you ask Thug, I'm sure Thug will say Wayne influenced me.
And
Yeah.
if you just listen to him, especially Thug's earlier recordings, it's extremely heavy. Wayne influence. The thing I respect about Thug though is you hear less and less as you go on through his catalog. So it's like he kind of took what he was doing and definitely put his own style, his own spin on it,
Yeah.
and made it into like a distinct flow that now other people are emulating.
And I think Thug's going to be a brilliant businessman. I think the label he has and the people he's around are going to build him to like the status of like Wayne or Birdman, to where he can take these rappers and grow them. Hopefully he doesn't do business like Birdman, because we saw where that happened.
Yeah.
But like what Wayne did for like the whole like Young Money team, you know what I mean, putting them up, like, I mean, who would have thought Drake would have popped like this? Like, you know what I mean? From like Take Care was a classic, but like to like the consistency, like we were just talking about, to just like 1, 2, 3, just like handing you classic after classic. Not anything I would put in like a top 5, or I would put maybe fucking what's it called? Not Thank Me Later. Fucking
The Drake albums.
no, nothing was the same. That might crack top 15, but like you didn't like
Albums
nothing.
of all time.
Yeah.
Oof.
Nah, I don't got it that high. That's not even personally my favorite
You-
Drake album.
That's not your favorite. What was your
I
favorite
give you
Drake?
Reading This, It's Too Late the most. That's my personal favorite Drake album. Probably followed by Take Care.
I don't hate that. I would have put Take Care of over that. I think you're crazy for that, but like I understand those two albums. Like I just think sonically, like Nothing Was the Same was just like front to back. Like if you listen to that whole thing, it was just fucking produced beautifully. Like you know what I mean? It was just the melodies, the way he was able to reverse beats.
40 crafted a good sound.
I'm just 40 is fucking ridiculous, man. I don't even understand how this guy's mind works. Like I really need to sit down and just understand, like, how do you even hear this stuff? Where it's like, yeah, that beat, throw it in reverse and then keep going on it. Like Tuscan Leather was fucking hard as shit. When the tape dropped, I'm just like, holy shit.
Insane intro.
Yeah, insane. I'm just like, who puts that as number 1? I'm just like, that's so much confidence for an album. You know what I mean? Like, and the other album that's like, I don't know if you guys heard, but like an album that really meant something to me a lot was King Los's God, Money, War. You ever heard that?
No,
Not many people haven't.
I'll have to tune in.
Fucking Diddy, man. Kills all his artists. You're a Diddy artist, no one's heard your album. That's the way it fucking works. I fucking hate people. No, I just hate him. Fucking, but where was I going to go with this? So I wanted to ask you about that, and then I wanted to ask you top 5 artists. You don't have to put them in order, but what are your top 5?
Like right now? Or?
Like right now.
All right, so my top 5's always changing. And like...
Facts.
You want him to go first? I asked you the first question last time.
Jeez,
Yeah,
that's
I'll let
like,
you build your. I will let you build your list. What's your top 5?
My top 5 right now, I have to say Kanye. Like, if we're talking about all time or that I listen to like right now.
All time.
All time Kanye, number 1. I think every single album he's put out has stood the test of time, and has like kind of influenced and created like a new wave in sound and rap. So he's definitely number 1 for me. Top 5 all time.
You don't have to put them in order. You
Yeah.
can just top 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'll just say the top 5 that I've listened to the most. Mac Miller was like the first rapper I really got into heavy, and that was like in like middle school, like 7th grade. So he's up there extremely high for me. Joey Badass as well. I got into heavy right around the same time. Like 1999 is like one of my favorite mixtapes. All American Badass, still love Bump All the Time. Who else? Travis Scott Love every single one of his projects. I actually got into him like relatively later than a lot of people. Like I wasn't really on him as much, like 2015, like the rodeo wave and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love every single one of his tapes. So that's 4, right?
Yeah.
So I'll come back to you with number 5.
You come
Actually,
back?
no, I'm gonna go with A$AP Rocky.
A$AP Rocky.
5,
I respect that. I respect that.
Top 5. So like, I'm definitely gonna have to throw Joey Badass. Jeez. Young Thug has to be in there. Chief 100%. Ye. Definitely Ye. Number 4. Jeez. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a hard question.
That's tough for me.
And it could change. It changes all the
and that's
time.
what
Like
I'm
I'll give
saying.
you a different answer yesterday. I'll give you a different answer tomorrow. It's just like whatever.
I think we all have the same. I think Ye is up there. You know, Ye is definitely undisputed. I think you're right. Every album he's dropped, the sound has changed. The stories that are told in his album, I think he does well sonically to display his story and how he's feeling. Like this Christian album, this is just the way he's feeling. You know what I mean? The next album might not be that. Twisted Dark Fantasy was something he was feeling. You know what I mean? And it took you through a whole progression of feelings through that album. So I feel like that's definitely like up there for me. Besides that, it's like Lupe Fiasco was a huge influence on me. I think he was great. I liked all of his albums until the last 3. You know what I mean? I'm a real person. Like, I'm not going to just, like, dick ride someone that I like. It's just, like, they just weren't for me. They didn't hit like they used to. But Lupe Fiasco, like, Food and Liquor Part 1, Food and Liquor Part 2, like, fucking, those were great albums. Besides that, I'll give you one more so I can escape my top 5 because I definitely don't have them in order.
I think I got my 5th, too.
You got your 5th? Oh, man. I'm going to have to get it in order. Fucking... I think for me, I gotta put a lyricist in there. Probably gonna have to go Cole. Like J. Cole.
You already got Lupe.
Yeah. Well, but Lupe to me was like, I don't know what he, like, I understood what he was talking about, but it was just like, I just loved the vibe he gave. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he gave up more of a vibe. J. Cole also gives off a vibe, but he'll just give you bars. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Friday Night Lights, I listened to when I was in Florida. I had just moved to Florida, and I was feeling mad homesick. And then I heard Home for the Holidays on a bus while the sun was coming up. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know those songs that'll just hit you in the moment? I was like, oh, I started tearing up. When you see me, better holler at me. I was like, oh, shit. I was like, this song's fucking... So that whole thing did it for me. And then, like... So it was J. Cole, and then... You know, big 50 Cent guy. You know, I'm gonna have to put Fofty in there. Put respect on his name. I gotta put Fofty in there. I don't owe him money, but I want to. Yeah, that's me, man. I'm just like, hip hop is like definitely. You can like, how old are you guys?
I'm 20.
20. You definitely can hear the difference in like rappers versus like, because you didn't even name like 90s people at all.
And no, I was also gonna say, let me clarify, I'm only talking about from like the music I really I grew up in, you know what I mean? Like I really listened to and I really loved. Like I have so much respect for like 90s music, so much respect, but I wasn't in that era, not in that generation, so I could never feel what the people felt when they were listening to that music. Yeah, you know what I mean?
It's like the Jordan LeBron conversation.
Exactly.
Like the people saw Jordan and they were like, you don't understand what it did for basketball, because basketball wasn't like it is today. Like it's just everywhere.
As much as I like respect 90s music, I definitely don't feel like what it was like to be in that era, so I'm not gonna cap and like throw some of them in my top 5, knowing that that's not what I was listening to on the daily, like during my formative years.
Yeah, no, I think that's an honest list. Like if you were to throw, you know, like Wu-Tang Clan in there, I'd be like, maybe he's a hip hop head, maybe he's just throwing it in for the like for the camera. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Like Wu-Tang was one of like the co-headliners with Travis, and we went to Rolling Loud. Like we all saw Travis, so like I'm not gonna sit up here and be like,
I went to go see Wu-Tang. But it's just like these things is like, I think like as like you get more into it, especially like, you know, I'm only 24, so it's like when you start getting into like deeper in hip hop, you understand like how these things are made. That's why Wayne was so big for me. It's like like when I was just getting in, you know, through out of middle school, it's like this is like Wayne's taking over. He was on everyone's song, everyone's Young Money. You know what I mean? So he literally just owned the market. And then to put out the consistency of albums he did and to change fashion, like while I was in school, is like crazy. But then you see what Thug has done, and like it's in the same kind of time period where it's like that's where this generation has gone. I did want to talk to you guys about just like the category of rap, right? When we hear rock and roll, like there's so many categories of rock, right? Soft rock, classic rock, metal, you know what I mean? Don't you think hip hop should have like its own subcategories, like of like 90s, you know what I mean? Like classic, you know, there's none of them. It's all thrown under hip hop and R&B.
Yeah,
I agree. I think that's messed up, and I think you really can't categorize all rap into one genre, and that's where we get into the problems, because people want to say what is real rap.
Right.
Like this is different than what came before it, so it doesn't fit in those categories, and maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But there's so many nuances. Like, you know what I mean? You have more lyrical rap, you have drill rap, like you have trap. You can't even put trap into like one subgenre. Like there's so many different things. There's like more rock influence.
You can't put trap in it? Isn't it just like drug music? Waka
I mean,
Flocka, Young Jeezy, early T.I.,
but then people
Gucci Mane.
But then people call things trap that aren't really like that. Like they're not really like drug music, I guess, if you want to call it that. Like
I mean, I feel like it went from selling drugs to taking drugs. You know what I mean? Because it was like I'm pushing weight, I'm taking 10 Xans. You know what I mean? It just changed, and that's where it's like I think like that's trap. And that music that's come out, Lil Ski, Lil Pump, Lil Xan, fucking Yachty and stuff like that. But that's all something different. And I'm not like gonna call it mumble rap because it's like I feel like people have given that name a negative connotation. You know what I mean?
It's derogatory.
Yeah, it's derogatory.
It doesn't even make sense. Half some or more sing more than rap. Some of them don't mumble at all. Like I heard people calling 21 Savage a mumble rapper. The dude enunciates his words like harder than anyone.
Yeah.
So like the category doesn't really make sense. But like with those guys you mentioned, like you were saying, like I don't know, like people talking about like taking Xan, like Trippy Red or like Lil Xan, like stuff like those people don't even sound sonically like anything like the other people you were describing, like trap, like someone like
and that's
older
not
Southern rappers like T.I. or
so that's what I'm saying.
Really the trap sound.
So that's why I kind of like separate them, because like people talk about trap and it's like I think the last people to slide under that radar was 21 Savage and Migos. You know what I mean? They're still trap rappers. You know what I mean? And now like it's just formulated into something different, because what happens when you sell drugs? You take drugs. You know what I mean? So it's come into, you know, and that's just the popular culture. Like I remember when Xans and pills started getting big in high school, and I'm just like, that's crazy, man. You know what I mean? And then you see it now, and it's like they don't even do weed in high school. They're just like, you don't take pills, and I'm just like, what's going on here?
Kids are crazy.
Seems like every 7th grader has a jewel in their hand now.
Oh man, I beat my son's ass from the fuck. I would drill him with a baseball from 100 yards. I see him with the jewel walking with the gun. Fucking chuck it, man. Oh man, that's the problem, man. People don't get their ass beat anyway. That's how I feel.
That's
like.
a fact. I feel that too.
I feel like people just talk shit, and I'm just like, you know, when you grew up, like I grew up with a bunch of like hood ass friends, and it's like you could talk shit to a point until niggas was ready to fight, and I'm just like, oh, no one knows where the line is anymore.
Exactly. There's a difference between like joking around, cutting ass with your boys, and then like just being straight up disrespectful.
Yeah, people don't know where the line is. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, man. Everyone, it's kind of crazy, and I just try not to sound like an old head and be understanding, because like before it was like, oh, it's not real hip hop, and I'd like listen to some of my heads. It's just not. Get the shit out of here, like fucking Young Thug. Like I got a friend who just fucking hates it because he wears dresses, and I'm just like, that just like shows like, you know what I mean, where he grew up and what music he listened to and what household he was raised in, because it's not able to transform into something different. Like he wears tight clothes. It's like, it's not your fashion. You know what I mean? You can listen to his music. It's not your music. You don't like him. That's fine. You know what I mean? I think everyone can not like something. You know what I mean? But I just think like trying to take away credit from other people, like artistry or business wise, you know what I mean? Like people hate on Yachty, but dude's made a fucking fistful of money. Like, well, how can you hate on that? Like, yeah, it could have been his management team, but more likely than not, he probably saw some shit and was like, yo, this is the deal I want. You know what I mean? People don't. I feel like people don't get credit where credit's deserved a vast amount of time in hip hop.
No, I mean, Yachty too. He's self-made. Like he was in college just like us, like 19 years old. Yeah. And next thing you know, like having hits. So And it's all because he's a unique person. Like, he just does him. He's out here wearing like little braids like you used to see girls with the like, middle school and stuff with the beads and stuff.
Yeah.
But he's just like unapologetically himself, and that's why people gravitate towards him.
I think that's the culture we're in now. I think people want to see more of like being themselves. I think that's what we try to do. I think that's what people try to do. It's what Gary Vaynerchuk does. It's like Casey Neistat does. Like all these big people are just being themselves. They've been able to build a following and a career on that. Like, again, I try to hold it in a perspective of you don't know everything that person does, and that person's only putting out what they want you to see. So there are things behind the scenes we got to all realize. People deal with money trouble, people deal with love, and people deal with like emotions the same way as you do. They're probably just not going to put it out like that. So, you know what I mean? We're going to have to figure that out. I like the new like wave of like therapy and stuff like that, because I do believe like that's like something people should take advantage of that wasn't really an option back then, or just like being able to talk to somebody about it, whether it's your friends or something like that you can actually have a conversation with. But just like I don't think you have to have that tough guy thing. Like when I grew up, like it was all 50 Cent, you know, gangster rap, and like you wanted to be the toughest person. You know what I mean?
Exactly. We had Cushy Sunoco on one of our last few interviews, and he has an album called Heartbreak Kid, and it's not necessarily about him getting his heart broken, but he talks about getting his heart broken in the streets, like with the street shit. And like his music, he puts it out there to where he's not saying he's the toughest guy out there, but to where he's been through some shit and like he's experienced some shit, and it's actually a good outlet for these kids to listen to his music and to like look up to a kid like that. Yeah,
to be able to explain it. And like I try to tell my son, it's like you don't want to expose emotions to everyone, but like if you're feeling something, the people that you trust is like something that you should take advantage of and talk to, and like trying to like break the bad habits of old, like, you know what I mean? They talk about like the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, sins of your father and stuff like that, where it's like you are so susceptible to just what you're around. Like my father was a full-blown alcoholic, right? So it's like I got to monitor myself around addiction. You know what I mean? Because it's like if I don't recognize that, yeah, I could say I'm depressed or I'm dealing with emotions or whatever I want to fucking say. But it's like you have to realize like you're taking after something you've already learned subconsciously. You know what I mean? Like people who have like my father was like very anti like gay. Like I wrestled in high school and he was like, that's gay. Like very openly, that's gay. You know what I mean? And it's like this is an Olympic sport. You know what I mean? Like this is a hard ass sport. You'll get fucked up on a wrestling mat.
For real.
You will get fucked up. I've gotten fucked up. I got my shoulder torn out of socket. Get fucked up out there.
I wrestled for 2 years and it definitely was not my thing.
That's a hard ass life. Yeah.
I never wrestled, but I just got into playing rugby this year.
Oh,
yeah, we got.
Be careful doing that.
Basically, the team's like a mix of like ex-football and wrestling guys. And that's like I used to play football. One of the things that I like about rugby compared to football is like how similar it is to wrestling. Yeah. Because like a lot of the hits are you're basically coming from less space. It's more like wrestling a guy to the ground rather than like those high impact tackles that you have in football.
Yeah. My friend broke his eye socket in fucking rugby.
Really?
Yeah, his whole shit from here to here just like black and blue, and I'm just like, holy. He's like, he went for the ball and he just like someone like just dropped their knee and just like hit him right here, and I was just like, oh man, I was just like looking. I was like, how's your eye? Oh man, that shit's.
Yeah, it gets crazy now.
Yeah, it's just like contact sports. Like my shoulder got ripped out of socket, and them just popping it back in. They gave me so much drugs on the fucking ambulance. It was just like Valium. And by the time I was still awake, and they just like popped my shoulder back in, fucking KO'd. Just like I was done. It was just the pain keeping me up. I was just like. It's brutal. Like you look at some of these fighters that do it for life, like Abraham Supernova out of Albany, and it's like you look at these guys and it's like, dude, that's a life. Like you commit yourself, you know what I mean? It's a one-track mind. It's not like what we were talking about. We could do everything, you know what I mean? They're like, I'm trying to be fucking world champion, and if that means I have to eat shit every day at 6 a.m. and run a mile, I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean? I
respect that a ton. Like it's just the obsessive dedication to one thing in your life, and you're gonna be the best at it. And even above everything else, like it'll take a toll on your body. You know, training like that, you'll get fit, but it's not healthy. Like, it's not healthy to put like 500 pounds in your back and squat it or running full sprints at 6 a.m. But it'll get you fit for the task that you're trying to perform.
Toughen your fucking mind. Yeah. I listened to a podcast, Jocko Willink, where it's just like this old Navy SEAL. Retired and stuff like that, just like telling you how to mentally toughen your mind. It's like sometimes you just gotta fucking keep it down. and just like that aggressive lifestyle of just like wake up at 4 a.m., go running, stop making excuses.
Yeah.
It's like stuff you need to hear. It's like maybe I'm not as tired as I thought. Like when I'm editing a podcast and I'm just like sitting there like I don't care. Like you know what I mean? I'm chopping up an Instagram clip and my fucking computer crashes, and it's like, oh man, I really just want to go to sleep because this is my house and I can go to sleep back there. You know what I mean? And it's that like mental fortitude to be like, do what you fucking are supposed to do, right? Because it's like you look at these people that you want to be at the level of, like a CEO or owning your business or like a No Jumper podcast and stuff like that. Joe Rogan, they do stuff they don't want to do all the time. You know what I mean? They got to the level to where they can just have people do it for them right now. You know what I mean? Yeah. They've gone through the bullshit, the struggling, getting ripped off, not making money, blah blah blah, and now they're here. Right? And they just kept grinding through it all. So fuck being tired for a little bit. And I understand, get your sleep. I'm not telling you to be unhealthy, but you know, fuck off.
I feel like people talk about motivation a lot. Like that's the end all be all. Sometimes you're just not motivated. Like it's about doing it anyways. You don't always want to search for motivation. Like how am I going to wake up at like 7 and do this workout or edit this video? But it's like you're doing it even if you don't want to do it because it has to be done. It's just getting over that mental barrier.
Yeah, that mental barrier can be tough, like just like self-doubt and stuff like that. And that's what I think is good for just seeing like regular, like what we would call ourselves regular people right now, right? Just guys waking up, trying to do what we're trying to do, just like put it out there. And it's like you can do it too if you had the idea and you want to be creative. I never considered myself a creative person, like until I was like 22.
Yeah, it's fun. I didn't mean to cut you off. It's funny that you say that. It's like I definitely feel that. Like I never considered myself a creative person either. Besides the fact it's like I was forced to play percussion growing up. Maybe besides that. But, like, on the other note, one thing that hit me is, like, I watched a podcast, Brilliant Idiots, with Schultz and Charlemagne. Yep. And Charlemagne was like, we're just regular. Like, I have no skills. Like, I'm a regular-ass person. Like, there's nothing. I don't have any skill that we don't have. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, anybody can do this.
Yeah. And that's 100% right. Like, I've never considered myself creative, but then it's like there's different lanes of creativity, and you just have to realize that. Like, I'm shit at drawing, you know what I mean? But my son somehow is really good at drawing. I'm just like, you didn't get it from me, but keep doing that, you know? So you got to encourage it, and that's what I try to encourage people to do as far as just that. And even music, like what you guys do for the 518. I did want to ask you, who are your top artists up here? I'm gonna put you on the spot.
My personal favorite that I listen to the most would probably be Demi.
Okay.
Probably him, Slim, and Suplex. Like, I just love the whole Glockstar movement, and their sound is also pretty similar sonically to I guess some of the more mainstream artists I would listen to. So I gravitate towards that. Also love like Ready Reg, GSM Steve-O, like Wiz Mac, that kind of sound too. Pretty much everyone we interviewed too, because like all the stuff that we do is genuine. Like it's people we legitimately fuck with if we're getting them on the show. Yeah.
What about you?
If I listen to literally everyone around here, but I love YK Rich, TKV, Swanky, Wiz Mac, obviously. Entire Glock stars doing their thing. There's so, like, when I tell you, like, there's so many talented creatives out here that could genuinely have potential.
A Supreme too.
A Supreme, like, there's so many dogs out here that are like ready to eat. Like, there's so many talented dudes out here.
Who do you think is the most slept on artist out here?
Most slept on.
Like, just like very little recognition.
Nova.
Either just like not recognition, or someone who just doesn't have like maybe who you haven't interviewed yet, or just like someone who's just like bubbling. You can see it, but it's not there yet.
Yeah, I would say I agree with Joey with Nova. Him and Casino Can make a lot of music together. But they definitely have like a distinct sound, and I think
these dudes freestyle everything.
They just need to get a little bit more output, like some tapes and visuals going. But they definitely have the talent where I could see them going up.
Dope. Anyone else?
No, I definitely agree with Nova, Cam. There's this young kid, this 14-year-old kid, V Hundos. He's pretty hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Have you guys heard Vex?
Vex
V3X.
insane.
Yo, I think she's honestly,
she's
it's
very
like
very unique voice and style.
Arguably the best artist around here.
I put her top one in this case of like she's so unique. I think she just pops. You know what I mean?
I agree.
I think
I agree.
Like she's so unique and just like what she does in her videos just to like promote her music is just like just what this generation is doing. And her voice is fucking great. You know, she's fucking she was on the 5th Place podcast. I produced that podcast and she was dope. You know, I think that she's the next to pop.
Honestly. Yeah, I can't wait to hear more music from her for sure.
Definitely.
I can definitely see her blowing up fast.
Yeah, very fast. I was like, it might get a little insane for her, but who's your favorite producer? Because I think we know a lot of similar producers. Who do you think? Who do you think's doing it?
518 Lonely.
Lonely.
Yeah.
Lonely. Really?
Lonely's definitely doing it.
Yeah, I think it's him. I think my boy Vito. You actually probably heard one of his songs. You saw Kemba, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did. He produced Last Year Being Broke.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, so he's.
Damn, I didn't know that. That song's crazy.
Yeah, that's
especially live too. That song is so fun.
Yeah, I heard that song literally like years ago.
Because I know so much emotion in that song.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like.
You seen the video for that song?
Yeah,
as well?
Yeah, great visual. So that my boy Old Man Sippin', like great producer up here. So. Fucking who else? Fucking Cav. He produced one of V3X's songs, Ice Water. That shit fucking slapped hard, you know. So that's my producers up here. Like, and I try to support like a lot of people. I like what you guys are doing for just like an open platform for people to come and like talk on. Is there anything else you want to guys talk about today?
I was gonna say, what clothing brands are you fucking with around here?
Clothing. That's a good.
I feel like
you're wearing one of them. We're wearing one of them. 5th Place.
5th Place.
5th Place. Yep. I fucks with 5th Place. I fuck with Play Dead Rob. I've been fucking with him. Sorry, man. Keep well, he's wearing white ups. I keep feeling bad. So I'm committing a fucking sin over here. Play Dead Rob. We talked to him. I didn't talk to him, but I was like in the background of one of his interviews. Like, and I talked to him afterwards. He's a fucking dope person. I haven't really seen Glockstar Clothing. I thought it was just like them as like a group. So I didn't know they had it. I'm gonna have to go check that out. Cosmo Club, but I don't know if they've dropped a piece lately. But
I think they dropped a piece like a couple months ago, but before that they were like MIA for a little.
Yeah. So I wanted to get him on here and talk to him about that because Cosmo Club was like really like they had all.
Yeah, shout out Leaf.
Yeah, shout out Leaf. You know, he did it and he's doing it. So I like that. And I don't know. What do you like? Put me on. Am I missing people?
Oh yeah, I also fuck with
Wealth.
Yeah.
I forgot about those.
Took Time Co too.
Yeah.
Fantasy Visions, the A Supreme. I want to cop one of the hoodies. They got this like little like kind of bear logo that's sick, and like some other things that just dropped. I think they're like a fall collection that just came out. That's definitely dope. G-Core, like you said, the thing I love about them is they do a lot of customs as well, with like the paints and everything like that. Yeah, what else you got?
No, I think we pretty much hit it on the head.
There's definitely a lot of good designers out of here.
There's a lot of good people out of here, and that's what I just like the platforms that we've developed to just have people on. Like I did the one thing was like someone had mentioned to me, he's like, oh, you're trying to do like what Without Warning's doing. And I was like, nah, if they're artists, like I just know a lot of music people. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to just interview rappers. Like I'm just trying to interview everybody. I'm trying to talk to people I don't know. Like the music scene's dope. I've been around it because I've just been around a lot of producers and rappers and stuff like that. But it's like some of it just like it's not all my interest is laid into, and I'm not as deep as you guys are. Like you write blogs, like you actually show up at concerts, you go to these people's events, like so you guys are on like another level, like, and like your YouTube is fucking blowing up, which everything's gonna be linked below. There's social medias, the YouTube page, the podcast page, all that shit. So I appreciate you guys coming on, man. You're fucking dope.
Fun.
Follow them, do everything. We'll fucking see you next time.
Yes sir, run it up.
Oh.